So I thought I was done. I packed up my phone and my little holder that it's on right now and my light that's in the car and everything, and I was ready to go and get something to eat. And then I just sat here in the parking lot of Target and I couldn't move. It was literally like I was just frozen, and I was like, I got more to say. I have more to say. Like, I won't move because I clearly have more to say. Even though I feel like all I've been doing is word vomiting in this car to my phone all evening. But there's clearly more that wants to come out. So I'm aggravated with myself right now because of that. But I'm just going to say it and get it done. I feel invalidated a lot of the times, once again, extending from things with my mom. Because I feel like a lot of the things that mattered to me just didn't matter to her, and it was never valued when I was growing up. Like, for example, when I was a kid, I wanted to audition for the new Mickey Mouse Club so incredibly bad. Like, this was way back in the day when Brittany, Justin, Christina, Ryan Gosling, all them, when they all like auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club and they were on it. Like, I'm within the same age group as all those guys. So I saw the commercials on the Disney Channel. They were advertising for auditions. I wanted to go audition so bad. And my mom was like, no, you're not allowed to do that. You can't do that. She was like, school is more important. School is more important than doing that. Like, even if I had auditioned, that doesn't mean I would have made it. That doesn't mean that I would have been, a superstar like the rest of them. I probably wouldn't have. But I wasn't even given the chance. I wasn't even given the opportunity. Like, my dream was just automatically smashed. It's like, no, you have to be realistic. You have to be in reality or whatever. So that's something that still sticks to me to this day. Like 30 some odd years later, that still sits with me, and it shouldn't. But obviously that impacted me as a kid. And I can also remember as a kid, when I was much younger, when I was much more naive, I remember saying things to my mom like, I can't wait to like get married and have a family and all these other things. And she would put down that too. And she would always tell me, you don't need that. You can be perfectly fine on your own, blah, 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 blah. And yes, that is true. I'm not saying there's not truth in that. But it wasn't the fact that I can't be okay on my own, but it was the fact that, once again, she was not acknowledging the dream that I was talking to her about. There was no encouragement in it. And whenever I bring these things up to her, she's always like, oh, but, I support you in the fact that, I help you financially and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm very appreciative to that, of course. But there's a lack of the emotional support, which is so important. And I feel like it's a generational thing, because when we talk about things dealing with her when she was a kid and everything, she acknowledges, oh, they were provided for, like they had a roof over their head growing up and they had food on the table, blah, 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 all these other things, but they were clearly not given the emotional support that they needed and they deserved. And that's just as important, that's just as valuable, if you ask me, as well as, the food in your belly and everything else. And yeah, so I feel like so much of that was put on to me as well, because that was put on to her. It's generational. Now, I don't have any kids, so I have no context to know if I would do that to my child, but I would hope I wouldn't, because I am so consciously aware of how painful it is to me to not be acknowledged like that. Like, I try to acknowledge anyone, like, they don't have to be my child, obviously, but it can be a friend, it can be a client, it can be whoever, just like the barista at Starbucks. I try to acknowledge everyone's dreams and desires and how they're valuable and important, but these things were always put down for me when I was younger. Not in a direct way, of like, you can't do this, but it was never like acknowledged how it was valuable and how it was important, and other things like school or whatever would be like the higher priority. Being realistic was the higher priority. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I struggle in my business, because those things are still echoing in my head. Even though my mom doesn't put down my business or anything like that, and I acknowledge that. I appreciate everything that she does for me in terms of the monetary help and everything with that, but man, I definitely have a lack of self-belief in myself because of that. So I definitely am thinking about like the second house there with our values and our self-worth and the lack mindset and all that kind of stuff, because that's usually tied to money in astrology, and I can see how that's a big wound for me. And I think the blockage for me is actually in the fact that I don't feel seen and I don't feel heard. I feel like I post readings and I post content and no one cares, and people just scroll by, they don't listen, and no one is interested in checking out my website. And like I said, I can't force people to do it. I don't want people to do it unless they truly want to. It just would be nice to find my people, is what it comes down to. Just to find my people. Yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to. I found my dog. There's Shadow and Tinkerbell in the back. They're clearly putting in their input. It's night and they're black, so they're probably going to be kind of hard to see right now. Maybe this is my sign to finally wrap up these videos and stop word vomiting. But like I said, even if this doesn't go up to the internet, I just want to say this to myself. Shadow! I just want to say this to myself because I need to get it out. It's like self-expression, and if I do post it, it's a byproduct for somebody else, I guess. Maybe it'll help them or entertain them, or I don't know what. So yeah, but I just hope people listen. I think a lot of the times I get a lot of lurkers at times who will listen, but they don't interact. That's what I'm looking for. People who are actually going to interact. People who are going to like and comment and share and have conversations with me and that kind of thing. Not just sit there and lurk. That's not even about going on my website and purchasing a reading. Just interact. Just hi. I'll interact with you too. So I don't know. I don't want to be desperate either and beg for it. I just need to voice it and just get it out, which is kind of what I've done. Okay, I need to stop now. I really need to go get food officially now. That's that. So thank you for listening to my ramble.